Today we have Ryan Hake with us. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
Well, I'm doing fairly well overall. I think we were talking off camera. I had a little bit of some issues not too long ago, but getting better every day. So don't that's the wrong podcast for that kind of stuff. But everyone gets a introduction. So like I said, we have Ryan Hake with us. He works at a helicopter company where he makes parts, overlays, and he does etching. Ryan has an adventure buddy, his dog. They
hmm
enjoy taking very long hikes I've noticed over the past few years. Speaking of the past few years, Ryan's been brewing between 3 and 5 years. He enjoys brewing on a Brewzilla 3.1. He's recently upgraded to a stainless steel conical fermenter. He's a member of, you guessed it, my Homebrew Club, the Brunette. He used to be a member of the Clarkville Car Boys. We'll talk about that in a little bit. He's had the pleasure of being a competition steward. His go-to beer that he's made off and on for as long as I've known him now is his English brown ale, which is really good. Like I said earlier, he enjoys hiking, camping, and exploring. Did I miss anything, Ryan?
No, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
There he is. Awesome, man. Like I said, thank you for doing this today. I think this is going to be a great time. So let's start off with your origin story, per se. Okay. So you said in the form I had you fill out that it all started with your dad's friend who brew fruit wine basically from his garden. Take us back to that moment and um, all the way to where you are today, if you could.
Yeah, my dad's friend, he actually uh, told me about a home brew store up in Clarksville called the Grog, and uh, so I ended up going up there. I mean, he used to brew beer as well, but then he got into the winemaking, doing the stuff out of the garden. I brought that bottle of wine to the club for everybody to taste before. It's really good. Um, and Yeah, he ages it. And Yeah, I went to the Grog homebrew supply store up in Clarksville for the first time. I met the guy and his wife that happened to be the whole reason that I got started and continued brewing. Um, they are a main part of it, uh, for the origin story. I spent probably a good hour and a half, 2 hours just chatting with the owner at the time. This was back in 2021, and just learning everything I could. He suggested some books, how to brew,
Let's
um,
go.
and so I bought that. Gave me some tips. Um, Started me off with the extract kits.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
And he's like, get your feet wet with that first and see if you actually like it before you do the all grain and start, spending the money on it.
Right.
And he was honest, very knowledgeable, um, great guy. Uh, like I said, took time out of his day, out of his in the shop to explain a lot of stuff to me, and really cares and really wants to help others. Like that was something I got. Like it was a passion not only to brew beer and brewing in general, but it was also to help others that wanted to get into the craft. And so yeah, he got me started on the extract kits. I did a few extract kits. They ended up really good. And then That's how I got some of my buckets and starter equipment. It was with that kit. Actually, some of that stuff I still use. It still comes in handy with the all grain kit or all grain recipes that I have and brew still. Um, so I still use some of that as well as the new stuff. I got the Brewzilla from him. He recommended it because I was living with my parents at the time, still trying to figure out what I wanted to do as far as a career at the time, and so space was limited. So he recommended the Brewzilla as a safe spacer, as you will, as you know. Uh, when you start the brewing thing, you can accumulate quite the collection of equipment and
Oh,
accessories.
100%. Yep.
So yeah, the all green definitely, or not the all green, the all in one was definitely a, a huge space saver for such limited space that I had at my parents' house.
Now, did the Grog offer like classes or anything like that? So, like to kind of invite people in to kind of brew with and anything like that?
If I remember right, that was going to be their plan eventually, but it never came to fruition. Uh,
Well, that's right. You said they shut down, right? Not too
yeah,
long ago.
unfortunately, yeah, they ended up starting a brewery. That was the ultimate goal, the ultimate dream.
Mm, okay.
It was called the Fallen Brewery.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it unfortunately closed back in November, as well as the Grog. Um,
Yeah,
big
we thought a
loss
lot.
for the. It's definitely a huge loss for the brewing community in general. Um, a lot of knowledgeable people, him and his wife. Like I said, they were instrumental in getting me started and kind of encouraging me to continue. And my dad is also huge supporter and one of the big reasons that I've accumulated the conicals in other equipment, and just him encouraging me and trying new things, um,
Mm-hmm.
playing with different ideas. Um, even played a little bit with AI and the
Oh
whole
yeah, for sure.
brewing system. Yeah, it was interesting, and actually drinking it.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
um,
Yeah. We'll definitely get into like some recipe development here in a little bit. So yeah, I'm glad you had the opportunity when you first started off to have a homebrew supply shop by you. When I first started, we had I think it was called the Estodian or something like that. I can't remember now. Anyways, it turned into Little Animals. It was
hmm,
Chris's
yep.
like homebrew shop. And I didn't quite start right then. I was just kind of looking at stuff, and I was like, "Cool, we got a homebrew shop in Johnson City. Pretty cool." um, so, like I said before, I reached out to my cousin. My cousin recommended this kit. I bought the kit, and I just kind of went from there. But there, that homebrew shop shut down, opened up a brewery. Then the other homebrew shop was actually at a libation station, but then they sold everything out. They quit doing it. So we had nothing within a half hour radius. You had to drive like almost an hour to Asheville, which is still not a bad drive per se, but for a 10-minute purchase, I try to make a day out of it. Like, being
Me
the
too.
wife will go out to lunch or go to get to breweries or whatever, because like Asheville's really fun. So not a
Hmm.
bad place to
Yeah,
go to.
absolutely.
But I am kind of curious. So when you got your extract kits, do you remember which one you started off with?
I One of them I know was a tropical IPA,
Oh, that sounds pretty good.
and there was another one, and I don't remember that one. But I remember the tropical IPA because it was very distinct.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah. 'Cause I remember my first extract, because I did one extract before I jumped in all grain, and it was with that kit that I bought. It was like the Amber Party Block, um, Amber Ale was what it was.
Yeah,
It was pretty good. It wasn't too bad. I was like, I made beer. I was pretty happy about that. But I think, and then correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe your English Brown Ale is kind of like your house beer for the most part. Like you see them make
yeah,
that one the most.
yeah.
So tell me about about it, like the English Brown Ale, because you said it's your staple. Everyone, because this loves it. So like, what makes it special?
I think it's the best beer I've ever made personally, and also I'm not the only one that feels that way. I'm not one to brag about myself, so if I say something's good that I made, I mean it. Uh, and I mean, my dad loves it. All of his friends love it.
There you
Homebrew
go.
Club loves it. I've even had people say that it needs to be entered in competitions. I've never entered anything into a competition before.
You should. It's
I
fun.
know I would like to enter it into the New South Brew Off, which is what the Clarksville Carboys have every year.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really good competition, and I stewarded in that before. And Clarksville Carboys has been a huge also impact in my brewing as well. A lot of knowledgeable people there, just like in um, uh, Northeast Tennessee,
So
brunette.
with this, yeah, we have a brunette. Yep. So with this English brown ale, was this a recipe you stumbled on, or have you evolved it over the time since you made it, like tweaked it a little bit?
Yeah, I can't remember who it was, but it was someone on your show. He mentioned Martin Keene and Brewlosophy. It was back when Martin Keene was doing his, I think, 100 beers in 100 days or something like that. That challenge.
Yeah, it was a beer a week. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I stumbled upon him when he was still doing it, and
yeah. Hmm.
the brown ale was one of them. And I'm like, that's interesting. And I actually had a brown ale at a brewery. I think it was in Clarksville, uh, and liked it. Um, like, so the Clarksville Carboys actually opened up my realm of beer styles. I didn't know there were so many styles until I
Right.
joined that club.
Yes.
And so that got me curious to try different styles because IPA was my dad's favorite style, so that was my favorite style. Now it's probably third on my list of
Okay.
favorite styles instead of first. And it may even be tied with a couple too, because I've tried different things too since even Brunette has introduced me to different styles that I've never heard of
Yeah,
before.
100%.
So
Yeah.
being part of a home brew club, if you want to broaden your horizons, is definitely recommended.
I agree with that too. Yeah, they like I keep thinking of like Joe's. I'm not sure if you're there for when Joe made his Lithuanian beer. So I'm gonna bastardize it, so maybe Joe can correct me in the comments later on. So you take your grist, basically, you scoop out, I forget how much of it, so let's say like a third of it, and then you bake it in the oven. So you basically caramelize it all. Then you pour that back into your vessel, whatever you're steeping it, or grandfather, whatever it is, and then so you actually get with the more complex like flavors. But they even got his yeast from, I think, a gentleman from Lithuania to use with this, and it was one of the unique styles I think I've ever had, in probably my top five favorite beers. I only had it once. But every time I think about it, it was so good. I mean, I would love to have it again. But I know it's a lot of work. Like, I think it took Joe, gosh, multiple hours, let's say 6 or 7 hours just for one beer. Like, because you had to do the baking process and all that kind of stuff. So it was definitely a really cool style. So, how many times do you think you brewed this brown ale?
Um, I had kept track, but I lost count now. It's definitely in the double digits.
Hey, nothing wrong with that, man.
And
Yeah,
people
I
keep
like,
asking for it, and now, so I just recently switched from bottling to kegging.
yeah.
My mom was a huge reason for that because she was tired of helping me clean bottles and sanitize.
Yeah, kind of
The
sucks.
she, so yeah, now I got that deep freezer, and I'm gonna do what you did and build a collar around it. Um,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I found a video that maybe you even used. I don't know, but he did the exact same thing.
Yeah,
But
I've watched a bunch of different ones. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I'm gonna eventually do that. But yeah, I switched to kegging, and I got a counter pressure filler, so I can still fill bottles and share them. But I also found trail keg. Have you ever heard of trail keg?
Mm-mm.
Trail keg. My friend has it, or I'd show it, but it's basically like a growler or a giant like thermos, and then it has a customized lid on it with pressure release valve, a post for your liquid, and then it also has a little regulator with a CO2 cartridge that you just screw on, and then you can
Oh, that's
regulate
cool.
it in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can still close transfer if you'd like. So if you wanted to keep the IPA from getting, you know, um,
Oxidized.
oxidized, yeah, you can still do
Yeah.
that. It even has like a filter on the little dip tube, and the dip tube isn't. I think it's a floating dip tube because it's not like solid. It's just like this rubber or silicone type deal with a filter on the end.
Well, that's
And
actually pretty cool. Yeah.
they have them in a they have them in a 2 pack, or you can get them singled. One's a 1 gallon and another's a half gallon. And so I've been doing that, sharing with some buddies, and it stays fresh longer too. Not that they uh, keep it long enough to need that, but it's better than cleaning bottles.
Yes. Oh yeah. But yeah, I still bottle condition some beer styles, but
Yeah,
I've reduced my volume. Like I hardly ever make 5 gallons anymore. It's three
yeah,
gallons or less, right? I'm more like I want to brew more, not necessarily drink more. I actually like the art of brewing the beers.
me too.
I love the smell. I love the brew days. I'm not a big fan of the cleaning aspect, but I mean I've
Yeah,
got my own rhythm of that, so it makes it a little quicker now. So
yeah, I'm the
and
exact
then
same
you want
way.
to give so much away as well, way too, right? Like we go to these brew meetings like only once a month, and you try to bring as much beer as possible. And heck, I just give bottles to people sometimes too. Like here, I think I gave you a bottle last time you showed up one. I was like, here, just take that.
Yeah,
I didn't want it in the house no more.
yeah.
Gotta get out of here.
But yeah, I'm the same way. Um,
Oh, are you not? Okay, yeah,
but I still do 5 gallons, just because I have people to give it to,
yeah.
and it disappears faster than like I. We were talking off camera, and you said that you have maybe a 6 pack a week. I maybe have one every month or so. It's
Wow.
when my dad comes and visits is when I really drink. I'm more social now than by
Okay.
myself, and but I will go like one Johnson City Brewing Company because I have I'm part of their like mug club, their lamplighters, and they do events where they do lamplighter appreciation day where they cook and give you all you can eat and drink. I'll go to that.
Heck yeah.
But I mean, that's really the only time I'll drink by myself, and I'm not even by myself. I'm around a bunch of different people, and I'm always
Yeah.
talking to the owner Eric and or other people that are there. And um, but I didn't really completely answer that brown ale question. Yeah, I got the base from Martin Keene, and then
Mhm.
yeah, I tweaked it a little bit, and got it more to my liking,
Okay.
which
Yeah.
apparently is other people's liking. But
Yeah.
the one that he laid out was absolutely phenomenal just by itself. I mean, he did a
Yeah.
lot of cool stuff. Did you see his New England IPA one where he used that Firmzilla?
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Where he had what were they like French press bags, and he had the hops in there magnetized to the sides for his dry hopping. That was cool.
I've done that with my the plastic buckets. If I want to dry hop, is what I'll
Yeah.
do.
Oh, that's cool.
You can do something similar. So it's not with food safe magnets, but so when I made my Sierra Nevada Pale Ale clone for the last December's competition, I did that under pressure. And then, so when I did the dry hopping, so of course you got to purge, all the CO2 out, and then I dropped. But you got to be quick. You got to drop it in quick. Hurry up, and like reseal it, because once the hop matter hits already pre-carb beer, it starts to make a volcano kind of effect. So you got to be pretty quick about that. That beer turned out great. I want to make that one again, but I have a list of stuff I want to do this year. So I might make that like a summer beer just to kind of have on tap.
Yeah, I don't think I've had it.
No, well, you've been busy on Thursdays,
Yeah.
so but that one didn't last for long. Only made 3 gallons of it. Of course, you bring like what is it? You bring like I think you brought like 32 or 48 ounces to the homebrew club for that competition. I think I gave us some away to some people. I don't mean to be braggadocious about it, but I think mine tasted better than the Sierra Nevada's Pale Ale of last year's,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because every year
it's
it changes, right? So
yeah.
it's all because they use fresh hops where I'm using whatever. But my IBUs I try to keep the same. But even my color was well, yeah, because I used their base recipe, but even my color was slightly darker than theirs. Theirs was super pale. Mine was more golden straw kind of color. It was really pretty beer. But I digress on that. So, like, I kind of want to get into the steward thing. What is a steward at a BJCB competition? Like, what is your job? What do you do?
My job was to every time the judges needed a beer to judge, I would
Okay,
go into the cooler. It would already be um, they would have each beer separated per their category. So whatever category they were on, they would be in that section in the cooler. So I would just go over there, grab one, and bring it out to them, read off the label to them uh, on the beer style, the percentage, and whatever information that they may need. Um, and then I'd pop the uh, top off and hand it to them. And then they would pour it and taste it. And then
okay.
when they were done, take the bottles away. And then I would put either the bottle back in the cooler if it was going on to the next round, or I would put it on the table for the other stewards and other people that wanted to drink it if it did not.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask. Did you get a sample quite a few different
Yeah,
styles?
yeah, and that's another way that I got to learn different styles.
Mhm.
Was by doing those, like going to those competitions, and I didn't know what a saison was until I went there. Um, and like the winter ales, I never really, I was never huge on like craft beer when I was growing up. So I like this is stuff that I'm just like noticing that people are probably known for decades, if not years. But yeah, it was neat seeing like, and then they would do like specialty stuff, like stuff that was out of the box, crazy, weird
Oh,
stuff. And
yeah.
some of them were great, some of them were like
Just crazy.
intense. But
Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't remember when you exactly joined Brunette. I don't.
it was in 2023.
Were so did you go to
I went to Riverside
the
Tap House. That was the first meeting.
that was the first one? So
And then
there
the
was one
second
that
one was
was
at
at
Little Animals.
Johnson City Brew at the historic house where we had like the crazy flavors where Brian made a Hungry Man stout. I don't know if you were that one or not. That was the crazy beer I ever made, I ever tasted. Like he used like bouillon cubes and potatoes and all
Really?
sorts of crazy stuff. Oh yeah, that tasted like
Wow.
a Hungry Man meal beer, but it was like just it wasn't. It was more comical than anything. But it was like something you like. You take a sip, you're like that's good, and you just kind of pitch it over your shoulder when you're just done with it. Um.
So it
So
was good. It was drinkable at least, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Pat made a bananas Foster's beer.
Oh, I remember that. Yes, that was
Uh,
amazing. That was one of the first ones I've had ever
oh, good.
from
Like
Brunette, and that made a good
13%,
impression.
like
That made a good
that.
first impression.
Yeah, that was delicious.
Yeah,
I think he had to make like 2 or 3 batches of bananas Fosters for that beer.
it was
I was
great.
like, wow, that's crazy. So we're talking about some crazy styles. So besides a saison, what was like another style that you had at these BJCP like a competition that was like, wow, this is really interesting.
Belgium Strongs. Never had that before. Um, put me on the spot here. I wasn't prepared for that.
That's
That
fine.
was a long time ago too. It was like 2022, 20. Yeah, those are the ones that stand out. It was that like winter. It was like those winter lagers, the winter beers. Because usually but the final one is in October time frame, so it's getting closer to the winter time, and yeah, there were so many different styles. I can't
Oh,
remember them all.
Yeah, I could even imagine. Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
think.
there was a lot of great ones.
Uh-huh.
Like you couldn't believe it didn't go forward. Uh, and then there was some bad ones. But I mean, the whole point of the competition isn't to put anybody down or anything. Even if the beer is bad, the whole point of the competition is to improve that beer and give that brewer uh, motivation and confidence and just motive like what's the word? Yeah, basically encourage them to do better. Like give them tips and stuff. So even though there was a lot of bad beers, I mean, it was still good for that brewer because now he's got information or she to improve it.
Hmm. Yep.
Um, and then maybe it turns out better the next time.
There you go. Have you ever thought about getting BJCP certified?
Uh, actually, yeah. Clarksville Carboys, they actually did classes for it, like training classes, and they were encouraging people to get certified. Problem was when I was working, when I was living there, I was working about an hour and 20 to an hour and 30 minutes away.
Mm,
And so
wow.
my time was very limited. So I was lucky to they had their meetings on Saturdays, so it was a little bit easier to make those than a weekday one. Um, I did go to the classes. It was great information, but man, I just don't know if I don't know if I have the skill. Like it's not even skills. It's like because you have to taste it, smell it, look at it, come up with ways to improve or encourage people, and I just didn't feel like I had that capability, or especially when it came with tasting. Like, there's people that are tasting like different notes and stuff, and I'm like, I'm not getting that. I just think it's good. So, because I'll never forget my first meeting. Uh, they did that like at the first meeting that I went to. It was like a tasting, like a taste testing, and so they poured it, and I just went, and everybody else was like sipping it and twirling it in their mouth and stuff, and I'm just like, huh, this is new.
Yeah, I was the same way too. When I was watching people do that, that's kind of strange. But the biggest advice someone gave me was like, pull up like the BJCP guide and then just kind of read that and see if you do pick that up. At the same time, I feel like you're setting yourself up subjectively to find those notes. Because I noticed I do that even in person. Like we go to a meeting, whatever. Someone's like, I made this chocolate stout, right? Okay, so I taste it. Like, okay, well, I get the chocolate. That's pretty predominant. Not really getting pistachio. Um, but then someone's like, well, that's not really pistachio flavor. I'm getting more of an almond flavor. And I go taste it again, like going, maybe I do get a little bit of almond or whatever, right? So I feel like I'm picking up what they're saying. They kind of put
Yeah.
that in my head. But a lot of people I have talked to that are BJCP judges for the most part, like they can be very subjective. Like you have like a clogged nose, you're not gonna be able to smell right. You're not gonna be able to taste right. People who smoke, I have a hard time being judges as well too because their mouth is already tainted with other stuff. Um, Depends on what you eat. Let's say you eat something very like acidic, that could change all your taste buds too. So there's a lot of things that can really throw off a competition. One person I talked to, like you could send like, the exact same beer to one competition and score like a 30 on it. You can send it to another one, and get like 45, right? I mean, that's 15 point like discrepancy, but at the same time, it could be all those things I just mentioned.
See, I used to make donuts, and donuts was a good palate cleanser
Okay.
for tasting. I didn't know that until they're like, yeah, bring them. That's a great idea for palate cleansing. So yeah, I brought them, and everybody enjoyed it. Like having coffee beforehand is not good,
You're right. Yeah. I can see
but
that.
yeah, I because the ones I made were cake donuts, so they were actually hearty and So they weren't
Mm.
only filling, but they were also like a good way to clean the palate, I guess.
Yeah. I've always heard like the crackers or pretzels are
Yeah,
pretty good, right, for the most part, right? So,
yeah,
um, I know I don't know if they do this in the beer world, but I know like in the cologne world and stuff like that, like people will have like a jar of like coffee beans. They'll smell that to kind of clear like nasal passages. So I wonder, it'd be kind of interesting if beer judges or wine judges or anything like that do something similar. I have no idea if they do or don't, but I mean, it would make sense, right? It's a different, stronger smell, kind of clear the sinus passages. But I kind of want to like ask you like an advice question. So for someone who is interested in learning about like, beer judging in competitions without the pressure of entering, is being a steward, do you think it's like a good step to head in that way?
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
they even suggested that when I was in there, like they're always asking for volunteers and stuff. And so I thought that was a great way to learn the different styles, even because they'll actually have the BCJP number or letter and number and all that stuff, like notation on the actual label. So you can even, while you're waiting, look it up real quick and kind of like follow along with them. So
Exactly.
yeah, absolutely excellent uh,
So
starting
I
point.
guess another advice question. So like after watching, all these judges work, right? What was the one thing that you noticed that most home brewers probably didn't think about when it comes to their own beer? So as being evaluated, I guess is what I'm asking. So if someone submitted, again, I'm just going to use brown ale because it's what we're talking about. If someone submitted like a brown ale, were there certain things you noticed when a judge was judging that brown ale that a home brewer might have missed on certain categories, and how did that mold you in a way to think about how judges may think?
Um, I know that bottle cleanliness was huge.
Okay.
Um, like that could make or break, I think, a judge's first impression. I mean, that's what it was, first impression. Are they bottle conditioning correctly? Um, their caps, are their caps on straight? Is it
Okay. Is
closed
it?
right? Is it sealed correctly?
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, so sediment was big too. Is there a lot of sediment? Uh, but I got to read some of them because yeah, I would actually collect the sheets too. So I got to read some of them. Um, but I just think that's, I mean, those are some smart people. They know they know their stuff. I mean, they know
Yeah.
their styles too. And there's so many different styles they have to be aware of. I mean, they would have their tablets and they would have the BCJP chart up and everything, looking at it. But
To make sure, yeah.
yeah, I mean, they were phenomenal at what they did.
So I kind of want to jump over to your some of the upgrades that you have recently purchased. So you got some conicals. So
Hmm.
what was it like going from plastic fermenters to stainless steel conical fermenters?
Night and day. It was like I grew up. I graduated.
I hit puberty. Yes.
I think another person that you interviewed, they mentioned that it was so much easier to clean, and it is. Oh my gosh. I can actually stand one of them in my bathtub and just turn on the shower, and it will just
Hmm.
spray it clean.
There you go.
Because yeah, I had a I think that's one of your questions, though I don't want to answer right now unless you care. But
Go for it.
so one of my biggest fails was me not doing enough research on the conicals. And um, I went to church after Saturday I brewed. Everything got put in the conical.
Hmm.
Went to
Hmm.
church Sunday morning, came back afternoon, uh, and I heard this hissing in my bathroom. And I'm like, what is that? So I go in there, and there is wort bubbling over the side of the conical because the spunding valve that I researched was not the correct one to be using, and
Ah, okay.
it did not release the pressure.
Lovely.
And so it just pushed up on the lid and just flowed over. Luckily, it wasn't too much, but it was enough to piss me off.
Right.
The,
Uh,
so um, I was in panic mode. Like, what do I do? I've never been in a situation. I'm Googling it, talking to my dad about it. He's suggesting stuff uh, like releasing the clamps on the lid, and I'm like, I don't want to oxidize it, but it's probably too late now. But then again, that CO2 may have already created that layer over it that may have protected it enough. I don't know. Like I'm in full panic mode because I'm not one that likes to ruin my all that work, all that hard work I did. So I know some people they don't care and they're willing to wreck a batch just for the fun of it. And
mhm.
I like doing it right, and I don't like making mistakes. I know it happens, but I went to bed and I'm like, I wonder if I can just hook up the gas disconnect with a hose and run it into like a jar of sanitizer.
Oh,
And
okay, so
I'm
like a
like,
blow up. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm like, I'm thinking it. I'm laying in bed and I'm like, that's not gonna work because the hole would be way too small. So I'm just laying there. I fall asleep and I wake up the next morning. I go to work and I Google it, do more research on my break, and that was someone's suggestion. I put a gas disconnect with a hose into a jar of sanitizer, and I'm like, well, crap. So I went home and I did that, and it worked, and I've been doing it ever since. I didn't buy any like special wands or anything like that. I just use that and it works, and it's worked ever since. 10 gallon, 15 gallon, it's worked.
Awesome, man. Yeah.
So lesson learned.
Yeah. The cheap one, actually. I mean, you didn't lose the
Yep.
beer.
No.
You know,
And
those
it came
discs
out great. It
are
came out
only
great.
a few bucks, right? And the hose is only a few bucks. So, like, yeah.
Yeah.
So, not
Yeah.
expensive at all.
So I'm looking at this conical that's caked in dried wort, and I'm like, that's gonna be fun to clean. And like every crevice and stuff, it's just caked in there. I'm like, this is gonna suck.
Yeah,
I
a
put
lot
it
of
in my
soap.
bathtub, turn it on, real hot water, and the stuff just melts off. And I'm like, that is amazing. I'm like, this was so much easier than a bucket,
Yeah,
even with the extra mess.
too mess. Yeah, I have a small stainless steel fermenter. It's not a conical one. It's the Anvil. It's like a 4 gallon or 4.5 gallon fermenter. It's pretty nice. I've only got to use it like a couple times so far because I made a Hefeweizen a few weeks ago, and I used my fermenting by bucket for that one. It was just a little bit easier for me to use overall because I knew like the Cro Kryzen, Crozen, how do you want to say
Yeah,
it? Like
Ryzen.
I know it's going to rise a lot with like
Yeah,
a heavy. So I had more headspace because it's like a 6 gallon bucket versus my 4 gallon. So I don't want to deal with that big old mess thing. But I did use a blow off tube just in case. I didn't have the mess, but I was paranoid. So I took
perfect.
an old what do they call it? I'm drawing an airlock, and I just had hose. I just shoved it over top of the airlock, ran that into a jar of sanitizer, and it was kind of neat to watch it that way though, because it was just creating huge bubbles, right?
Yeah,
First,
yeah,
like you have the airlock is just popping up and down, like so. That was pretty cool to watch.
yeah.
So
When I did that with mine, it was actually bubbling the sanitizer over the jar.
okay, yeah,
That's how wild it was going.
amazing. That's pretty cool. So with your Brewzilla, it's what's your honest opinion on that? You've had it for a few years now, so like the pros and cons. Would you buy it again?
Um, it's made by Kegland, and the Kegland. I've learned from one of your interviewees, um, that they think outside of the box. I like that. I like that they're willing to try different things and play around with different ideas. And some work and some are just awful. But then they go back to the drawing board and they improve. I don't know about the new Bruzillas, but they look nicer. They have nicer LED screens that are kind of more towards the top instead of all the way at the bottom. I have the 3.1.1, and so what I don't like about it is the pump, circular pump, is sitting underneath it. And another, I wouldn't call it a brewing disaster, but another brewing inconvenience was that recirculator pump got clogged right in the boil stage.
Really? Yeah.
Um, it has um, those false bottoms and stuff to prevent stuff from getting through, but it happens. And I don't know why this particular beer, I believe it was a stout. I don't know why, but it clogged right in the boil. And whatever. Uh, I waited, tried to get it to unclog, and it wouldn't. So I don't like the fact that it's on the bottom, and there's like there's like the plate with the feet on the bottom. You pull that off. There's this like, I guess I guess it would be like a insulation type deal, probably to protect the electronics and stuff underneath it. You take that off, and there's your pump. Um, and then that's even a pain in the butt to get to. At least with the tools I had at the time. I had just moved into that townhouse in Gray, um,
Okay. Yeah.
and so my space was limited as it was. My tools were limited as it was, because some of them were locked away in storage. Um, but yeah, I Googled the heat capacity on those bottling or those buckets,
Hmm.
and they have a very high tolerance, way higher than boiling. So
Okay.
I'm like, perfect. And it has a ball lock drain,
Hmm.
so I used that and drained everything out and was able to tilt it and fix the clogged pump and put it back in. And it was just a mess that day.
Well, we all have disasters. Like it just happens. It's just part of the hobby, right? It's I think even I've even watched failed pro brewers as well too. Like,
Yeah.
you know, fermentation tanks just exploding, right? So like it just happens. Like it's just I say it's part of the game. Like you can only do your best, or you can only you can only do your best. Like so, things just happen, and you figure out how to solve it. So like it wasn't that big of a like a disaster. It's not like you forgot to shut like I've talked to people where they forgot to shut the ball valve, and as they put in their wort, it just leaks all over the place. So like I've heard people do that before. I've heard other stories to like people forgetting that you need to clean your equipment thoroughly sometimes. Like anything that has threads, crap lives in those threads. So like I clean um my vessel, I think every third brew, I tear it all apart and clean it. That seems to be the best way. Like I usually don't get no gunk or anything like that. But I mean, read horror stories about that as well too. So, it's part of the hobby. It happens. It happens. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, you were able to save it. You saved your beer. You even saved your pump, which I think that would be the worst part. Is actually the burning up the pump.
Yeah,
Right.
that for as old as it is, it's still a solid system. Um, I bought it in 21 still. I did the extra kits probably for a couple months and then was like, I want to try this all grain thing. Got Went back to the grog Nate, the owner, he ended up putting me in the right direction with that thing, and I don't regret it. I don't regret the purchase at all. It's been a good system. It's brewed a lot of good beers, um, and yeah, the main thing that it's been great at is holding temperature up until recently, and I just think that with all things, I mean, the temperature gauge. I haven't calibrated it or recalibrated or anything, so I think it's probably time after about 5 years of running that maybe it just needs to be recalibrated, and there's nothing wrong with it. But one thing I'd change is probably that pump putting it on the outside. But it looks like they've made changes to their newer systems. Just like that Firmzilla, I got the first version of the Firmzilla, and my dad and I went to use it for the first time. We made a phenomenal New England IPA. Uh, his favorite style is still IPA. I mean, he loves my brown ale too, but and a good stout. But he loves his New England IPAs, and so we brewed that. And I'm like, hey, I got the Firmzilla. We can even do it. Uh, we didn't do it under pressure, but I'm like, we could even do it under pressure, I believe. But um, uh, it was it went perfect. Everything went perfect. We tested it because it even says to test it before using it to make sure everything is sealed. And I haven't even used that thing. It says it's expired, but it's been in a box, and all these years it's never been used, and it worked phenomenal, except for the collection cup on the bottom. I don't know if it was just bad engineering or what, but the cup has these notches on it,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
they sit right underneath the gasket. That when you screw it, the gasket squeezes, and if you got too much, if you even got a little bit of pressure in the actual bowl, it'll leak.
That's weird. Yeah.
Yeah, and Googled it, and tons of people online had problems with it, and
With the first generation.
they did honor people, and they gave them, I think, newer versions for free.
Oh,
Uh,
that's cool.
even the cups. Um, and from what I read, I don't know if it's true
Mhm.
or not, but uh, uh, they do stand by their product. I'll give Kegland that. They may not always their product when they come up with something new may not always work right the first time or perfect or as they intended, but they will honor it. They seem like a great company. Um,
Right.
so I didn't I didn't really bother with it too much because I'm probably just going to do what Martin Keene did. I did do that whole deal with because Martin Keene did the hops in that French press bag or whatever with the magnets on the side, and then he also used that collection cup. I still used the collection cup. I just didn't. I just released all the pressure,
Mm.
and then just to make sure that it wouldn't leak, and it did great. I actually used the collection cup twice, so and it
That's
turned out
awesome.
pretty good.
Yeah, that's really
Uh,
cool, man.
so yeah, kudos to Kegland and Firmzilla.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah, I haven't bought too many of the, I don't have too many other products. Like I think I have like the Kegland, or the Nuka Taps. No, it's all the same company. I do like those. They're not
I
horribly expensive.
That's why you gave me yours.
Well, they were just sitting around. I wasn't doing anything with them. So like, I don't need these. I knew you're talking about start kegging. I'm like, I started off with these and they were fine, you know.
Yeah, they work good.
Yeah. The one thing I did have a problem with, like, beer sometimes can make you get will stick the valve, but but it's not hard to fix. The
Mhm.
thing I liked about the Nuka taps, they're forward sealing. So if this is the ball that goes in far,
Yeah.
all the beer sits behind it, right? So
Yep.
that's pretty nice. Like I don't ever they don't ever get stuck, which is really cool. Like I said, I think they're worth the money. But I just save up for it. A lot of stuff I have is I built a lot of my stuff. I've built a lot of my own equipment. Um, there are things I wouldn't mind getting, like the keg land, their PET kegs,
Yeah. Yeah, my
just
dad
because
has one.
like they're super cheap, right? So,
Yeah.
and I think it'd be kind of cool because I wouldn't mind getting some of the 2 gallon ones or 2.5 gallon, or whatever size they are, because they're skinnier than my 2 gallon keg is. So I could probably put a couple in my keezer. My keezer's only a 5 cubic foot, so it's not really big. I could fit 2 kegs easily. Going, a third keg is kind of kind of tight, but if I had those skinnier ones, I could probably put a couple in there. And what I use the 2 gallon ones for is usually for ciders. I make. I'll either do a gallon or a gallon and a half as hard cider. Uh, Another easy style to make for sure. And then I like experimenting with ciders. I like to try different fruits and stuff like that. See what kind of flavor profiles I come up with. Again, around Christmas time, I did I think it's called Wessel. So it's like a drink. I don't know if you're from the north as well. So I remember growing up, we used to have this hot beverage. It was called Wessel. It's just basically just a bunch of different spices like cinnamons, cloves, and blah blah blah. And you would throw that in like hot cider itself. Well, I had a bunch of these that packet laying around, so I put that into hard cider. That turned out really good. And then I did a ginger cranberry hard cider. That turned out pretty good too. Like because
Sounds good.
it had both bites, right? You had the ginger bite and you had the cranberry bite with a little bit of the apple in the background. So those are kind of experiments that I like to do. So you've been brewing long enough. You've even brought up a point like you're willing to take more chances, like doing kind of experiments. What has been your bravest experiment you've tried so far?
Um, Probably that New England IPA. I mean, I haven't done anything too crazy yet. 'Cause most of my brewing has been very cautious. Now I'm starting to feel a little more adventurous, and
Uh-huh.
I'm willing to play around a little bit more than I used to. Um, yeah, I would say that New England IPA, it gave me anxiety because I don't want to ruin a beer,
Right.
but no, it turned out phenomenal. And like I said, that Firmzilla, and they fixed that and improved the new Firmzillas. So I definitely recommend Firmzilla. Especially if you want like a simple, cheap conical. It's plastic, um, but it works great. Um, Even if you want it just as a starter. Um,
I
oh
kind
yeah,
of
okay, yeah, okay. So yeah, I did do an experiment, and I thought it failed miserably. Others thought it was a great beer, and even requested me remaking it, and I'm like, you guys are insane. It was that chocolate peanut butter stout. I don't know if you remember that, but I think
a
something
bit.
happened when I think it. See, I don't know if it got infected. I don't think it got infected.
I remember it being tart.
It was, yeah, like sour tart,
Yeah.
weird. It was not the way it tasted when I put the cocoa nibs in it. And this stout has no additives whatsoever. This is all from the grain. So that's why I like it. 'Cause now I don't have to open up because like you and another, I think it was a couple interviewees, and you guys are afraid to open up your fermenters, and that was one of the reasons that I wanted to come up with a stout or have a stout because the Fallen, he actually came up with a recipe that did not have any additives. It was just all grain. It was the best stout probably I've ever had in my life, still to this
Oh,
day.
well, that's awesome.
Um, his
Do you want
Hefeweizen was phenomenal as well.
It was really good. I do want to talk about an experiment that you did do. So you made a non-alcoholic beer, right? So that's a pretty big experiment.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Can you walk us through what a non-alcoholic beer is, and what was the process that you used to get it to be to be that?
It has to be under 0.5% ABV. That's considered non-alcoholic. And so the grain bill basically got cut in half. Um, I had to pay attention because now, being a non-alcoholic beer, it's considered more of a food grade. I mean, I know beer is considered technically food, it's consumable, but it was considered a spoiled food. Like it could actually become harmful and kill
Uh,
bacteria. The difference between a non-alcoholic and alcoholic beer is an alcoholic beer has a protective part to it, which is the alcohol that could kill all that stuff. And this does not. So you had to be more cautious on your. So it would basically brewing the same. You were just uh, watching your OG, yeah, your original gravity and trying to keep it as low as you can. My target was like 10, I think 24 for my original gravity, and then it was supposed to ferment to 1022, but I ended up getting it to 1025, and I was like, close enough. Because I used that White Labs non-alcoholic strand,
yeah, that's right. Yep. Yep.
and that one actually is designed specifically to stall out quickly. Um, and so it did a good job of stalling out. Like it dropped it to from 1025, I think, to 1023 maybe. Like I think it was borderline 1023 to 1024, but it stopped. It was done. Over. I couldn't get it to go down any further if I tried. So I didn't want to leave it in there too long because if you leave it in there too long, it's susceptible to bacteria growth, which can be harmful. I ended up pasteurizing it. I didn't have to, but I did it as an extra precaution. That was a fun and interesting experience in itself because what I did was I kegged it and then I got those kegs real hot. I got them to about 165 degrees.
Wow. Okay.
And then what I did was I used the bottling buckets or the fermentation buckets and in a bottling bucket. Put real hot water in there from, well, the stove. Heated it up in the pot, which happened to be the brew pot from that extract kit.
It's a full circle.
Yeah. And so I filled the. Yeah, I probably did everything the hard way, but it worked.
Hey.
And it's really hard because I didn't have a probe inside the kegs. And so I would take my um, thermometer and touch the side of the keg and kind of guesstimate. It's about probably 5 degrees plus or minus, maybe.
Hmm.
Probably minus to be on the safe side. Temperature in there. And you didn't want to get it too hot because you can actually create a burning or a burnt uh, flavor, off
Oh,
flavor.
okay. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because it'll actually heat up the malt in there,
That makes yeah, it does make
and
sense.
it
So yeah.
can create the burning or burnt taste to it, and
Hmm.
even give it an off smell too. Everything came out good though. I tasted it and it tasted good. Because then you had to, after that, after heating it up real hot like that, you had to drop it all the way down to like, what, 32, 33 degrees? Get it
Mm.
back down to serving temp,
Hmm.
and it was pasteurized. But then you also had to check your pH levels. And pH levels had to be, what was it, like, I think it had to be above 4, but less than, I have it written down somewhere. I don't have it with me, but I have it written down. I can find it if you want me to.
No, it's fine.
But yeah, it had to be in a certain range. I think 4.5. I think 4.5 was the sweet spot. Um, but couldn't get it that low. Because I had what was that, lactic acid, was it?
Yep. Yep. The layer, right?
And
Yeah.
I was trying to use that instead
Uh
of,
huh.
I can't remember the name of the other one, but the other one, was it phosphor? No, I can't remember what the other one is. There's another one that doesn't really change the flavor profile a whole lot. This it can give you that weird, like, off flavor if you use too much of it. So I used uh, what, like 3 or 4 ounces. It wasn't terrible.
Right. I do
It was,
remember
but it
text
wasn't
message.
great.
Okay.
Yeah, I texted all that information.
Yeah, because I
You
remember
could
you saying
probably,
like you only put so much in.
yeah, I was getting borderline close to the max, and I didn't want to get to the max, so I'm like, I'm done.
I remember we talked about for a minute because I didn't know anything about NA beers. Like, so you kind of taught me a lot just through like the text messages, like you were,
Yeah.
trying to do all this stuff, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Uh,
when I do it again, I'll have to go back through my notes because so I made it for my dad's friend. Um, when I first started brewing, he was actually one of my biggest taste testers along with my dad, and he would always give me good feedback. Um, this past Christmas, I actually saw him at my parents' church, and we got to talking. He stopped drinking beer for an alcohol altogether for health reasons, and so I asked him because he owns a business, and so he'll throw like parties or events for customers, for employees or whatever, and he'll serve alcohol. He just won't drink it himself. And I'm like, would you be interested in me brewing a 5 gallon batch for them, and maybe I can brew a non-alcoholic for you? And that's kind of how that happened. And he really liked my
oh,
brown ale, so I'm like, oh, I can do the brown ale. Try it as a non-alcoholic. I can't guarantee it's going to come out good, but I'll give it a shot. My parents took it to him like in February, and or no, it was in March. It was in March because my dad was taking it to him but for the St. Patrick's Day, so he got it around St. Patrick's Day.
okay, that's cool.
Um, and my dad said he tasted it and liked it. He enjoyed it. My dad actually got a half-gallon batch of it, or no, 2.5 gallon batch of it, and he liked it too. I thought it was acceptable, but me, I have higher expectations than most people when they drink what I make, and what I may think is awful, somebody may love. And so I thought it was acceptable, but I wouldn't put as much lactic acid as I did.
Uh,
The pH level was way too high. That's why I had to add that. It was way higher than the recommended levels for a non-alcoholic beer. Technically speaking, as long as it's refrigerated, it should not have mattered a whole lot, but I take every precaution I can, especially when there's a risk of getting somebody sick.
right. Yeah. No, that makes sense for sure. I wonder if you could have used like acidulated malt as well to drop the pH level while using so much lactic acid.
I'm not familiar with that, to be honest with
Yeah, it's also called acid malt as well too, so it helps drop like the pH level. So you can look it up either way. So I'm wanting to make a goza, and with my goza, that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to use acidulated malt instead of like lactic acid. I don't like super sour stuff anyway, so I'm trying to go more tart. And then I'm also going to use like lime peel to help with with the tartness as well too. But I'm going so I think it'll be okay after all said and done. I'm going to use like a little bit of salt, sea salt, then that should help. Give it besides like a salty character, but it should help ideally help balance it out a little bit. But if you read any goza recipes, there's always salt, there's coriander, like either lactic acid or like acidulated. I'm changing just a couple of things here and there just to make it a little more my own. So like you, I feel like I've brewed long enough now that I don't mind experimenting. Uh, I am my own worst critic. It sounds like you are
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
So there's been a lot of beers I just didn't really care for until people was like, "Oh no, this is pretty good," or give it like a month and see how it turns out. And that's one thing I've learned, especially doing lagers. Like especially if you like, you brew a lager, you let it for 2 weeks, you let it carve for a week or whatever, you pour off a pint like on. It's like, meh, it's okay. But you let the sucker sit for like a month or two, it just gets better, right? One thing I always forget about is just time can make a lot of beers just better.
So how are you lagering? Are you using like a deep freezer fermentation chamber, or are you
Um,
using like a chiller?
so there's two ways I do it. One, I do pseudo lagering, so I use to do under pressure. So I've done it a few times; those turn out pretty well. The other one is I have a interesting system. My keys is already set at 34, 35 degrees, so I have this really slim trash can basically. That's about 5 gallons. I'll put that in the corner. I fill that up like halfway with water and I put a bunch of ice in it. I have a pump that pumps to a S coil or J coil, whatever you want to call it. You can get that from Manville as well too. And that's how I lager. So I just set it to like I can get it down to like 50 degrees, but I usually will wrap like a winter coat around the bucket to kind of insulate all the coldness in there. You got ink bird. Then I have a thermal well as well too, so I can I can get all the temperature and stuff like that. So I can lager that way. Um, it's probably not the most cost efficient way of doing it.
I work.
I because of the pump runs all the time for the most part.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, it works. I can't tell the difference between under pressure and lagering the traditional way. I do want to do an experiment where I split like a 5 gallon batch and do like a cerveza, do like half under pressure, half like that. Just see if I could really do like a side by side comparison and maybe
Yeah.
bring that to a meeting as well too. Try to do like a
Yeah.
triangle blind take, taste test and see what people can see which is which. 'Cause I would use everything the same yeast, everything like that, obviously, but just different ways of getting that lager. Because when I made my Mexican cerveza, like everyone enjoyed it. They thought it was a great beer. That was under pressure.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Mhm. Yeah.
When you do lagering, is there any special ways you're doing that?
I haven't done one yet.
Oh, okay. What's holding you
I,
back?
um, I didn't know about uh, that temperature didn't really play that much of a factor when you pressurized a uh, a beer. But then again, I've been using buckets up until, you know, just this
Recently,
past
yeah.
winter. So
I bought a pretty fancy spunding valve, which I think I showed you when you was here a while back ago. But I like it. It's like a Swiss Army knife spunding valve because I can use it on multiple kegs. 'Cause there's a little port on the bottom where I can kind of like just like daisy chain if I want to do pressure like a bunch. I can do the inverse of that. I can have the bleed out or the air going out to pre CO2 a keg. I can just pressurize the whole keg with just CO2 like that way. So I was already good to go. So it was pretty neat. That was like I want to say it's like $70. That was like a birthday gift I bought for myself. I know he's changed the design of it, so it's not as it's like half the size of what would buy nest. But yeah, so under pressure, pretty cool. So basically what you're doing is you're suppressing a lot of esters. So like some loggers having esters present isn't necessarily a bad thing. Getting some like those fruity esters is not a horrible thing. It's kind of sought after sometimes. But you kind of want overall, you kind of want to suppress those as much as possible. So that's what the spunding valve kind of allows me to do. Like I said, you said between like 10 and 15 pounds. Then they decided to kind of do its thing. So it's pretty cool. They're like Kegland makes their own. I mean, it's probably cheaper. I think they're like $30 or so. But I like the idea that I could do more with the one device. I just wonder the reason why I spent the money on it. And it's another home brewer who made it himself. His name is Tron. I think he's Asian, but I can't remember what what Asian he is off the top of my head. But I think he's a biochemical engineer and or retired, but he is also a home brewer. So he makes all these really cool gadgets. So they're so like really neat stuff. He's the only one I've ever seen that makes a double filtered floating dip tube. I have those as well too. The inner one is like 200 micron. The the outside was 400 micron. So like you get no sediment at all going through your beer lines when it gets to the very bottom. So there's a pretty neat too. But I kind of want to get into more, I guess, about you just a little bit. Like I said earlier, we talked about like you work at a helicopter company, you make parts, you do visual overlays, you do etching. For someone has no idea what I'm talking about, what is that stuff and what are you actually building? If you could talk about it.
Um, yeah, they're basically one of my main things is making like instrument panels look pretty. So it's got the black background with the white lettering, numbers and all that stuff. So it looks aesthetically pleasing to the pilot and the co-pilot. And then I also do other little overlays that go on different parts of the aircraft and circuit breaker panels. And then I can actually reverse engineer stuff. I do that. Sometimes, so we have two different departments. One is where the brand new helicopters are, and another is maintenance, where those aircraft have been in service for several years usually. And sometimes when the aircraft have been in service for several years, they'll come back for their yearly maintenance or whatever, and or whatever they need or want. And sometimes they'll customize it and they'll add something new to it.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
so, uh, or they'll want something covered up because they removed an older piece of equipment and replaced it with a newer one that's more sleek and stylish. And now they got a giant gap in their pedestal or other place.
Hmm.
So I can actually go in there and reverse engineer that piece and make it nice and pretty one piece, or I can create like a blank off plate to cover up that gap. I mean, so many different things I've done. I make some of our parts because it's quicker when I do it versus when our production facility does it. So we can get uh, things rolling on a quicker basis. Like if it's something that like there's bending and stuff that needs to be done that the techs will do, I'll just make the flat pattern for them, and they'll be able to quickly put it together.
That's
Uh,
cool.
and then I can make a whole instrument panel. I draw them up on AutoCAD per our actual drawings, and then I'll place instruments and stuff in different places. Uh, there's a lot of law enforcement and first responder kits that we get, and those larger instrument panels will have an extra monitor on the side,
Mm,
keyboard and stuff, and
that's cool.
audio panels and stuff. And yeah, I'll cut out all that stuff. I'll save the people on the floor days worth of time doing all that stuff, and in a matter of hours um, in my shop, and just drawing it up. And I've been involved. Actually, my one of my first things that I did when I was in that shop was actually make a brand new instrument panel for an older helicopter. It was a helicopter with analog, so those little uh, analog gadget or instruments. Uh, and they were swapping out a majority of them for a glass, what they call a glass screen. So it's basically a monitor that's made of glass.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
And so I had to rearrange all that stuff, all those different switches and the ones that they were keeping, um, I think they're gas gauges. That's what they're called.
Okay.
They even use gas gauges in the home brewing world too. Uh, and so yeah, I had to rearrange those on the instrument panel to get that glass. Uh, uh, Trying to think what it's a Garmin to fit in there, and then make it still make it look appealing, like it's not like all jumbled and all over the place. Make it look appealing and pretty to the customer, and then I made an overlay to match it. So I used that same file and created a overlay that'll go perfectly, match perfectly, and everything worked first try. It was amazing.
That's awesome, man.
But yeah, they had because I gave them a rendering of it,
Hmm.
and they had to get customer approval for it. And so it was neat that my drawing went through the customer approval process,
That's awesome.
and I
So I kind
made
of
it.
have,
He
yeah,
installed it.
there you go. Yeah, so I have like a follow-up question. So with your craftsmanship, do you see any crossover between your precision at work and your brewing?
um, just thinking outside the box sometimes.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, uh, doing things differently than some people would do it normally, or playing around with what works and what doesn't. Because uh, there was a uh, there was a show that they did, and I had to laser etch a part, and I had never done that before. So just experimenting with the different settings and playing around with it, uh, taking chances.
There you
You
go.
got to do that in the brewing too.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to get out of your comfort zone. Like I'm trying to in my brewing world, because my brewing world, everything has to be perfect, everything has to be right, it has to be to the number, and I'm like, dude, you don't have to be perfect every time.
No.
You can experiment, you can play around with stuff. There's so many
Mhm.
different things you can do in the brewing world. There's so many different things you can do in the manufacturing and the aviation world too. Um,
Right. Yeah. Think I heard the best. Like somebody told me once in one of these interviews I had was like, you can live 1,000 years and never brew all the styles and all the combinations and permutations just because it's always a moving target, right? Because they're always coming up with new hops and hybrid hops and different ways grains are even slightly getting different over the years as well too. So speaking of hops, I know you have a lot of land where you live at. Have you thought about growing your own hops?
I have. I actually, my friend, he actually came over and tilled my garden this past weekend.
Okay.
I actually, what was there before was raised beds. Somebody put raised beds before me, and I tore all that out. I wasn't a huge fan of it last year when I gardened, but this year, yeah, he made a big old section of it for me, and he's one of my fans as far as the beer goes. Um, he's actually the one that's got that trail keg. Um, that was kind of my thank you.
Mhm. There you go.
And uh, yeah, I thought about it. Getting like a little trellis or something for them to climb up. I got plenty of space out there. I don't think I'm going to utilize that entire area. Maybe I can get with you and we can come up with something, and you can
Grow,
use some of them too.
we'll grow some like some Centennial and Citra or something like that. The most common hops.
Yeah, there we go. We got the plan now.
Yeah,
We'll plant some hops. You can brew for the first time in an all-in-one system.
well, it all in one day, kind of.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'd be fine. I was just kind of curious. Like I said, I know you have a lot of land out there. Just remember when you just gave me like the Zillow listing, what, about a year ago now, I think. Never like kind
Almost
of
2 years.
checking. Almost 2 years ago. Well, like crap, time is
Yeah,
flown by. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, because I could think my daughter was just had my granddaughter. My granddaughter
yep.
just turned 2. So yeah, oh gosh, yeah, a lot has happened over the years. But yeah, no, I definitely need to get out to your house one of these days. I need to check it out. Um, I've been out there obviously in 2 years, at all in 2 years. And you're not even that far from me in the grand scheme of
Yeah,
things. You're like maybe 20 minutes.
yeah. I think I'm about 30 minutes because I'm in like Jonesboro. I'm on
Uh,
the outskirts of Jonesboro.
that's right. Yeah, you're like further west, Jonesboro, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm a little bit further. No,
Okay.
I was closer when I lived in Gray, I think. But
So you've covered like a lot of my questions already just from our conversation, which I think is just phenomenal, which is great. So I'm gonna get to the round that I like. These questions. They're rapid fire round. Nothing too difficult. Nothing. Just first thing comes to your head. Just list it off. If you want to give a little bit of an explanation behind your choice, you go for it. Not a big deal. Are you ready? All right, here we go. Hazy or clear?
hazy
Bottle or can?
bottle
Ales or lagers?
ale.
Favorite hop variety?
Uh, I don't know.
You don't have one right now, then that's totally fine too.
I really don't have a favorite because I mean
There you go. Well,
they
nothing wrong
can
with
they
that.
can. There's multiple ones that I like in different styles.
Mm-hmm.
So
Favorite
that's
beer
good.
glass?
Um, oh, what is it? Do I have it? I think I might have one
Oh, show and tell time. I love it.
more.
Well, mine is
uh,
just a pint glass. I like those, like the pub pints. They
yeah,
usually what towards. I each yeah, I know there's glasses for certain styles, and I do have glasses for styles, but I usually just grab that pint glass and just roll it with.
I have a couple that.
I think a
But yeah,
tulip is kinda cool. I think
yeah,
those are pretty neat.
I don't actually have the one that the Hefeweizen would usually go into. I don't think. Um,
Yeah, I've been debating about bringing some of my glasses down to the basement. So I usually keep them upstairs and
we're doing.
bring glass to the basement and all that kind of stuff.
I gotta reach for it back here. Yeah, yeah. My friends actually gave me this one when I moved to Tennessee. So it's got Illinois and Tennessee on it.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't know if you can see the
Yeah, a little bit. That's pretty cool, man. Yeah, see,
on it, but yeah.
that's what I've seen on there.
And
Yeah,
then
so yeah, and
I
that
like
pint glass right there, that's what I like. Yeah.
I like these for a stout.
Nope, that was a good one too. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually got this one for free. Did a brewery crawl back in Clarksville area,
Okay.
and this was the prize at the end if you made it through all the breweries.
If you made it up through, that's awesome, man.
Not a
So
bad
I guess
prize.
not a bad price. So the next question would be: are you a morning brew day kind of guy or evening?
I'm definitely morning. I'm early morning. I'm like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning.
There you go. I would start that early, but I feel like I would wake up the wife, and I don't think she'd like that too much.
Yeah,
So I
probably not.
usually do about 8. Um, the most underrated beer style.
Mm, I would say I would say the Belgians are probably underrated.
Yeah, I could see that.
I don't see them as much as I used to. Uh, Little Animals had a phenomenal one, and I'm excited that they're reopening. Can't
Yeah,
wait
I
to.
really hope Chris brings back some of his I'm gonna call them flagship beers.
Yeah,
Yeah, for the most part.
yeah.
Like he had a saison that was really good. Actually, he was just listed in um BYO magazine. So you can actually get his saison. He actually has a little listed there, so you can brew it yourself for the most part. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, it is really cool. Yeah, I would like to get Chris on here too. I would like to chit chat with him. I
Heck
think
yeah.
it'd be a good conversation. Eric said he'd do it. I was just trying to find time for Eric. 'Cause every
I'm,
time I see him on Facebook, he's always gone somewhere or doing something.
yep.
Maybe I'll wait for it to get a little colder outside, and maybe he'll slow down some.
I don't know.
Yeah. Is there a brewing trend you like to see go away?
Mm, I don't know, maybe the fruity beers. I'm not huge into them. My mom
Okay.
is, so
Yeah.
maybe that's not a good example because then she wouldn't be drinking beer with me.
There's
But
nothing wrong with you not liking a style.
yeah, so I didn't think I liked sours until I joined the Clarksville Carboys, and there was a guy that only did sour, and his sours were absolutely phenomenal. I actually went with him to his house and brewed one with him, and that was fun. That was interesting.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of sours. Oh, I'll skip those. Is there a trend you like to see come back?
Mm, um, I don't know.
It's not what comes to mind. That's totally fine too. Don't worry about it. If you can only brew one style for the forever, what style would that be?
You're gonna laugh at the brown ale, huh?
Is that oh, that's fine. That's the answer. That's
Yep,
perfect.
that's the
Nothing
brown
wrong with
ale.
it. All right. So that being said, folks, everybody who's listening, tell Ryan to enter his brown ale into competitions this year. So that way he can get all the feedback he wants. He can do the what would you say, the South what was
New
the
South
one?
Brew Off.
Yeah, so you can do that one. There's I mean, just type in homebrew competitions. There's plenty. If you go
If
watch
you if
Leo Rita's interview, I actually updated his post. It actually has a link to his homebrew club who's accepting competition beers right now. So
if you submit one with me, I'll submit it.
okay. I'll make a beer too that's worthy of being submitted. Like I said, I won't be able to try any of my beers until June, but that's fine. Not a big deal with me. Let's see. I have a couple advice questions for someone who's listening and thinking about starting home brewing. What is the one thing you would tell them?
I would tell them to go the extract kit as well. Uh, I think that was phenomenal advice from Nate. And if you decide that it's just not for you, you are not out a ton of money. And if you decide, hey, I really like this, I want to do the all grain, just like me, you got that extra equipment that you can always use in the future. Like it's not, if you stop using all grain kits or extract kits, that stuff is no longer usable. It's absolutely reusable in every application in the brewing world.
Exactly. No,
So,
I agree with that. Yeah. It's a great
yeah,
advice. So this is a not much of an advice question, but just kind of a question kind of popped in my head. So you said you don't think you're knowledgeable enough to discuss anything technical about brewing topics, but you've done this
I'm
entire
still a baby.
podcast so far. We talked nothing about the only thing we talked about is about brewing for the most part. So how do you feel now about that statement from earlier?
I'm still a baby. I'm still learning.
Oh, I think we're all learning. I don't care if you do this hobby 30 years. You're always going to learn something new. You know, like I said, it's just things change so much. And I think it's even faster nowadays. It's hard to say you know everything. So we talked about competition plans. You're gonna enter competitions. You're going to upgrade your keys build. Is there what's the next plan for Ryan?
Mhm. I don't know. I next plan is to try and get rid of one of these kegs so I can start brewing again. That's that's what's holding me back. That I haven't brewed since the end of February, and the reason is because my dad has been, like I said, one of my biggest supporters, and he has been supporting me hard to the point where I brewed 30 gallons of beer with him by the start of the new year. It was like in December to February. We brewed about 30 gallons.
Oh wow, that's good. That's awesome, man. That's a
Yeah,
good time.
and then we realized, wait, we don't have anywhere to put this stuff.
We ran out of room.
We better slow
That's
down.
hilarious. That's
So
hilarious.
yeah, we slowed down and now doing a little smarter, waiting for a room in the refrigerator before brew another batch.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
So what you need to have
I
is a
I
get together where it's nice and warm outside and just
it, yeah, you know, I think it'd be kind of neat to. I don't know how I would do this, but uh, I wouldn't be opposed to doing like a brewing recommendation, like somebody telling me, "Hey, brew this style."
okay. Yeah.
I don't know how to go about doing it.
So I'm
Because
going to recommend.
that would get you out of your comfort zone. You'd be doing a style maybe that you wouldn't normally do.
Wait. I think a beer you should make is a single Belgian.
I wanted to do a Belgian.
I say either do a single or a double. I think to start with, or because I'm doing a double probably fall. I'm not going to say what I'm going to use in mine. I'll tell everybody after I make it though. But I'm pretty excited. I have all the stuff for it. I'm just kind of just waiting for time to go by so I can make it. And I might bottle condition them. I'm not sure. I'm on the fence if I want a bottle conditioner or keg. Um, but it's gonna be good. That's gonna be. I think it's gonna be phenomenal.
Well,
So
my dad and I, we decided that we're gonna do like the seasonal beers. We want
yeah,
to do that.
100%.
So like, or St. Patrick's Day, do an Irish style, and then
Hmm.
like German style for Oktoberfest, and
Hmm.
winter lagers for the winter. But always have like our house beer too.
Yeah, I mean, like summer's right
Like I
around the
got
corner. You start getting to saisons, farmhouse ales, stuff like that, right?
shandies too.
Shandies,
Yeah,
yep, yeah. Oh, Shandies. Do you do what's the other one? Rattlers.
yeah, rattlers. Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, I guess you could experiment with like if you give yourself like a spundy valve, you can make yourself like a pseudo lager. Maybe make yourself some really good like lemonade and
Oh
mix them
yeah.
together.
So another thing that I wanted to do once I get this Keezer built is I wanted to get. I used to make craft sodas,
Mm,
all natural craft sodas. The popular one was my cream soda and my orange,
okay.
and I actually use real fruit in the orange.
Oh,
So it
interesting.
was actually real oranges, mandarins, tangerine extract. I did a tangerine extract. It was that amaretto.
Mm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, but yeah, they make some pretty cool stuff. They're not too horribly expensive either. So who would you like to see me interview next?
Uh, I would have to ask him if he'd be okay with it, but Nate and maybe his wife, even the ones that got me started, uh, I think absolutely highly of them. Not only as brewers, but as people too, and they're
Yeah,
excellent people.
yeah. You have my email. You can send my email to them to ask them if they want to partake, and just some there's a little form they got to fill out, and it's not horribly long or anything like that. Uh,
I
mm,
know closing their businesses was really tough, so I don't know how they'd feel about it, but I would definitely want to reach out to them before I gave their contact information or anything.
100%. I
But
appreciate.
I think they'd be fantastic for this.
Okay, cool, man.
Nate and Heather are both very knowledgeable people, and they were very passionate about that craft too. So
Exactly. Yeah, we need people like that for sure. Well, Ryan, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for coming on to the show today, talking about your homebrew experience with everybody. That being said, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
thank you, and I appreciate you having me on.
Yep. See you, sir.
See ya.